In a medium-sized saucepan, we're gonna bring the milk just to a boil. I'm pouring here 2 cups of milk that I'm gonna heat up on my stove. So I'm gonna turn on the heat on a medium intensity, so we want to heat that on medium heat. And then on a bowl, I'm gonna whisk together sugar, flour, cornstarch, salt, and I'm gonna crack 2 eggs into the bowl. After I cracked the eggs and added all of the ingredients, I'm gonna grab a whisk and I'm gonna mix everything together. Everything should be combined and no lumps should be seen. So whisking really hard over there so I can break up the sugar pieces that are in there. Mix everything together. And it should look something like this. So I'm gonna put this away. And for today, banana cream pie, I'm gonna use a prepared chocolate crust. So it's a chocolate cookie crust. I'm gonna remove the foil from the edges so I can take out the plastic inside. So I'm removing the plastic. And now we're gonna move on to the bananas. So I think I'm gonna use 2 bananas for this recipe. And we need to cut them in slices. Don't forget we have the milk on the stove heating up. So we need to watch the milk as well because we don't want it to boil over. So we're gonna peel the bananas, keep the peel out of the way. It's important to use ripe bananas. It's gonna be super yellow, even with a little bit of dark spots in there. So I'm watching the heat on my milk. It's not quite ready, so I'm gonna keep slicing the bananas. We want like a medium slice. We don't want it too thick or too thin. So when you have your slices of banana, we're gonna arrange them into the bottom of the pie crust. We're gonna keep arranging the bananas all over the crust. We don't want any empty spaces. So in this banana, I cut it in half to finish up the spaces that we had on the crust, and the other half I'm gonna chop it into smaller pieces so I can feel all the tiny spaces between the slices of banana. So now my milk is already starting to boil. This is really important and we need to be really careful. While whisking the eggs, I'm gonna slowly, very slowly pour the milk into the bowl while keeping whisking, because if we put it all at once, we're gonna make scrambled eggs and nobody wants scrambled eggs with sugar. So slowly putting the hot milk into the bowl. You're gonna need a little bit of help with this. And when you added already half of the milk and you didn't make scrambled eggs, you can add all of them. It should be, everything should look liquid. So when you finish whisking all of the milk into the eggs, sugar, flour, cornstarch, and salt, we're gonna pour the liquid back into the saucepan. So let's pour carefully the liquid because it's very hot. We're gonna pour it back into the saucepan and we're gonna heat it on medium heat. So we need it to boil so the cornstarch absorbs all of the liquid from the milk and the eggs cook. So we're gonna have a thick custard. This recipe that we're making for the filling is called a custard. So I'm gonna keep whisking all of the time so I don't curdle the eggs until it boils. Once it boils, it's gonna become very thick. You need to watch the custard cooking. I've done it many times, so I'm continue chopping the bananas while the custard cooks. But if it's the first time you're making a custard, I recommend you keep an eye on the custard because it's gonna boil really fast and you can burn it. So I have all of my bananas on the crust and my custard is just starting to boil. Once your custard boils, try to keep it anywhere between 30 seconds to 1 minute boiling while whisking. So we make sure we have the right consistency and everything is cooked in there. So I'm checking the thickness on my custard. I'm stirring a couple of more times, leave it there like 10 or more seconds. We need to remember what a boil is. Boil, it's when big bubbles are in the top. When the bubbles start bursting on the top of the custard, that's gonna be boiling. So I'm gonna try to show you the thickness on the custard. So it's gonna look creamy and smooth. And I'm gonna pour it back into the bowl where we mix the eggs with the sugar and flour. I'm gonna use a spatula to scrape everything. And there you can see the consistency changed a bit when we cooked it. So use the spatula to scrape every last bit of the custard into the bowl. And now we're gonna add some vanilla. It's gonna be 1 teaspoon of vanilla, or you can do it like me that I just use the little lid to pour the amount of vanilla. So in goes the vanilla. And now we need room temperature butter. We're gonna add the butter slowly, maybe a couple pieces at a time, 2 or 3. And stir it with a spatula. We need to melt the butter. This is gonna give it a creamy texture and it's gonna taste really delicious. So once the butter starts melting, I'm gonna add more and mix. Once it's melted, add more. And you're gonna continue like that until everything melts and everything is combined, creamy and smooth. Careful with the bowl because it's very hot. Try not to touch it from the sides. I'm just giving it a couple more stirs so I can melt all of the butter and mix all of the vanilla in there. Once it's all mixed and all creamy, as you can see in here, we're gonna pour the custard on top of the bananas on the crust. It's gonna be a little bit heavy. If you need some help, ask for help. Remember, this is really hot, so we need to be careful. Once we pour all of the custard, we need to cover it with some plastic wrap and we need to let it cool for at least 6 hours on the refrigerator. The custard needs to be cold so we can serve it. You can top it with some more sliced bananas or with some chocolate cream. So that's ready to go to the fridge for 6 hours. Once your pie is cooled and you waited at least 6 hours, we're gonna decorate the top. So I bought this chocolate whipped cream from H-E-B and I'm gonna pour into the bowl of my KitchenAid 1 cup of the cream. If you don't have a KitchenAid, you can use any canned whipped cream or also you can use a hand mixer with the whip attachment. Remember, because we need to introduce a lot of air. So now that we have air in here, see my cream doesn't fall out. We're gonna top the banana cream pie with the chocolate whipped cream. So I'm gonna pour all of the chocolate cream into the pie and then gently I'm gonna spread it. So spreading back and forth the cream so I can cover. I'm not gonna cover it all into the edges because I like the look of the two colors showing up in there. So this is the last cream that I had in my bowl. I'm gonna smooth it back and forth. And then using a zester, the same ones as we have at school, and some chocolate chips, I'm gonna grate or zest the chocolate on top of the cream so we have nice chocolate sprinkles. If you don't have the zester or the grater, you can also just add chocolate chips on the top or some chocolate syrup as well. The cream and the chocolate is optional, it's just for decorations. You can still eat the pie without the cream or the chocolate. So after I grated all of the chocolate on top, this is ready to eat. I hope you enjoyed the recipe and I hope that you can try it in your home.